he really thinks he's a great guy, even though he has done terrible things and he's a terrible father. I mean, his other two children may be stars in his mind, but his daughter Suri, I guess, is just another meat body. That's what they call people who are not part of the church. And he absolutely abandoned his daughter, Suri Cruz. Now in 2012, Tom actually filed a $50 million lawsuit against Brower Media for articles about him abandoning his daughter, so he does not like that narrative. However, during a 2013 deposition, he was forced to admit that he didn't see his daughter for over 100 days in 2012 due to work. Jump to 2016, In Touch reported that the number has grown over to 1,000 days. A source told the magazine that Tom uses his film commitments as an excuse, but the truth is it doesn't hold much weight with Suri anymore. They went on to cite the church's disconnection policy, which allegedly discourages members from having ties to former members. Quote, he's disconnected from Katie, and because of that, Suri. Since she has a connection to her mother, like a daughter would, he's not allowed to talk to her, and he hasn't seen her since she was 7 years old.
I know the policies of the church when somebody like Katie leaves, that Katie Holmes is considered a suppressive person by the church and is to be shunned. That would be the same for her daughter. I would hate to see him continue to give up real relationships for something that is not good and that is not decent.
I think at the end of the day, we can all agree that he has no moral compass, and at least if he did, the church has completely soiled it. I mean, this man compared acting to fighting in war. During his 2013 deposition, when he filed that lawsuit against the media company for saying that he abandoned his daughter, even though he did, he said that shooting on location is just as grueling as serving a tour of duty. A lawyer was quoted saying that your counsel has publicly equated your absence from Suri for these extended periods of time as being similar to someone fighting in Afghanistan. Are you aware of that? The actor is quoted as responding that he didn't hear the Afghanistan line, but that's what it feels like. And certainly on his last movie, it was brutal. It was brutal. Okay, so being an actor is, I guess, as difficult as being a soldier who is at war. Make it make sense. Of course, his lawyer claims that the, remarks were taken out of context, but people slammed him because even that lawyer clarified and said, like, you're saying Tom, but Tom laughed and said, yeah, that's what it feels like. So he really is just a jerk. And I feel like when I see Tom Cruise laughing, I need to be running, because when this man laughs, it's out of like pure evil. And I usually don't think people are actually inherently evil, but there's something truly evil about this man. I mean, in 1999, Tom Cruise laughed while recounting a story where he restricted oxygen for a passenger on a plane. During an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1999, Tom recalled a moment where he restricted oxygen for a passenger when flying to Colorado. According to Tom, he and his co-pilot, as well as a passenger, were using oxygen masks because they were flying at a high altitude. However, Tom said that as soon as he realized that he did not have enough oxygen to stay alert at that altitude, he then said that he decided to turn off the oxygen mask for the passengers so they could continue their journey. This caused the audience and Tom Cruise to laugh. As he continued telling the story of how the passenger passed out due to lack of oxygen, Tom kept laughing. David Letterman was confused and asked, but honestly, looking at it from the other direction, isn't that attempted manslaughter? You just turned off a guy's oxygen. You're lucky you're not doing time, for the love of God. I guess this passenger did not pass away, but they passed out, and not having oxygen, that's so serious. I feel like, why don't you just use the oxygen left to get somewhere on the ground, like wherever that shall be?
Find this airplane that we had to go on oxygen, and I realized that we couldn't stay at that altitude if on oxygen. I had to descend because I didn't have enough oxygen. So I had a passenger in the back, so we figured out, me and the co-pilot, that if we turned the oxygen off in the back guy, that we could make it at this altitude. It wasn't dangerous or anything,
Now, what happened when you turned his oxygen off?
He was very quiet. He felt
Something so sick about that story. I would never trust that man, because he'll always put himself first because he thinks he's the best. In 2005, Tom Cruise shocked everyone by jumping on a couch on the Oprah Winfrey Show. It was so weird. He was talking about his new relationship with Katie Holmes, and he was extremely excited throughout the program and just acting bonkers, just completely weird. At one point, he jumped on the couch in the middle of the conversation next to Oprah, and just like it made everyone obviously feel weird, but it's also like he's so, exuberant about this love that it almost just doesn't seem genuine at all.
This is interesting, Tom. We've never seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way before? You are gone. This is the thing.
I'm gone.
Are you
I don't
sleeping?
care.
Are you getting enough sleep?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm not going to pretend.
I can see you're not. Do you know Katie once told 17 magazine? Yes.
If I was Oprah, I'd be so uncomfortable. I mean, Oprah is known for being the big character and the big personality. So to have that person so over the top, it's just like, tone it down, man. In 2002, Tom Cruise's former manager recalled that the actor once refused to speak to a waitress because he was still in character. So being rude to service staff because you are still in character. That's your excuse? Okay, theater kid, turned just, the worst nightmare. His former manager, Eileen, said once they were at a restaurant and a waitress recognized him, but he refused to talk to her because he had a role in a movie and he was still playing this soldier military guy. The waitress asked him, "Aren't you one of the actors?" And then I guess Tom was upset that she'd recognized him. Tom said to us, "Please tell her not to ask me any questions. I'm still in character." She also said that Tom had a terrible temper. I guess when he was 19 years old, he was in a bunch of teen magazines for his birthday, and he screamed, "I don't want to be in teen magazines." I guess he considered himself an adult, not a teenager at the time. Again, that superiority complex. Now, of course, because Tom is so high in the church, he's tried to convince other people to join, and he's also made it very well known in the industry that he's a part of this group. Actually, Gerard Carmichael made a dig at the church on a award show, the Golden Globes, when he said that he got these 3 awards for the safety of Shelley, the leader's wife, who we've not seen in a long time. He joked that the awards belonged to Tom and that he returned them to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association back in 2021 after the organization was exposed for its lack of diversity. However, things took an awkward turn when Gerard continued and suggested that the awards could be exchanged for the safety of Shelley, this woman who's been missing. She hasn't been seen publicly in years, and I don't know what she could be up to, but this guy's wife is just missing in action. Shelley Miscavige hasn't been seen publicly since 2007. She's still supposedly alive, and she's married to the church's leader, David. So maybe we need a whole video on Shelley. Let me know in the comments below. In 2013, there was 2 missing persons reports filed in the LAPD over Shelley's disappearance, including one by Leah Remney. But the LAPD confirmed at the time that it had seen and spoke to Shelley, and she was not missing. On November 10th, 2022, Leah shared an update into her personal investigation. In 2013, the LAPD detectives went to Shelley's and personally made contact with her and her attorney. Detectives found her to be alive and safe. We don't have any real updates from recent, but I guess 10 years ago. Damn.
You want more? I'll give you more. Who else noticed this moment described in this next Golden Globes blind item? The host told a great joke / made a great comment about the celebrity cult, but everyone was scared to be seen laughing in the room for fear of retaliation, not just from the cult, but the actor at who the comments were directed. And that was directed at Tom Cruise about Scientology. My conspiracy theory is that David Miscavige is really dead and or on a ventilator, and Tom Cruise is actually the head of Scientology now.
Now, because Gerard was so brave making those comments at the Golden Globes, people started to look into, Tom Cruise some more. And people came across this old clip where Seth Rogen claimed that Tom Cruise tried to convince him to join the church. Looking back, Seth said that he was initially confused by the wording of Tom's comments and asked himself in the moment whether the actor was saying something good or bad. He went on to say that this was followed by a very loaded moment in which Tom appeared to take a more serious tone, asking the pair to hear him out. Seth was with a friend. They were listening to what Tom had to say. They couldn't really tell if he was coming from a good place or not, but they heard him out and they dodged a bullet.
So yeah, we met with him for hours, and not a few hours into the meeting, he goes, "This Scientology stuff comes up, how weird he's looked in the press lately.
But he said, what you said in your book was fascinating. He said, the press is trying to make me look crazy because I'm costing the pharmaceutical industry so much money because he's against,
he's against pharmaceuticals. And then, the wording goes, and it's like with Scientology. He said, if you let me just tell you what it was really about, if you let me just give me like 20 minutes to like really just tell you what it was about, you would say, no fucking way. No fucking way. I remember being like, I remember like the wording was, I was like, is that a good thing to be saying? Is that a bad thing to be saying?
Seth Rogen dodged a bullet with that one, and so many others, I hope, do the same. I see a lot of those people out here protesting every day. If you guys ever want me to go on the ground and do like a video or something where I like interview these people and ask, like, they're protesting every day. They're on like TikTok live, like, you know, arguing. They have a lot to say. So I think I could go out there and like, you know, make a cool video, like kind of asking them like about it, because like I really think they're like heroic, like taking it to the streets, because it's really stopping people from like being recruited like on the street of like, you know, Walk of Fame, but also it's like just bringing more awareness. Like people are actually questioning like, why are these people protesting? Oh, well, okay, well now they know about this church and what they're doing is so wrong. Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.